Hello and welcome to today's video. This is my November wrap up, and let me tell you, it's December 1st I'm filming this and it's already December and it is bloody freezing. Most of the books that I read in November I didn't read physically, so I've decided what I'm going to do for this video is I'm just going to put the image in here-ish and you'll be able to see what book I'm talking about. I'll always have an image displayed here, but we're just going to talk about the books. I think it's going to be quite a quick one. We had a few rereads and we had quite a few just mediocre books that I really don't have a lot to say about. We have a couple of very lovely surprises, like some very lovely hits of the month where, you know, they were a really great time. So yeah, I will have a bit more to say about those, but I think it's just time we got into the books. There's 11 in total. I don't know the page count. I know that I normally give you the amount of pages as well, but I haven't calculated that yet, and I would like to get this video up today because I guess this is also me announcing that I am trying, fingers crossed, I'm going to try my absolute best to do Vlogmas. I'm not actually going to be doing vlogs. There will be some vlogs, there'll probably be 3 or 4 vlogs, but I'm going to try and get a video up every day in December. I have no idea if I'll be able to do this, but I'm really hoping so. So yeah, if you'd like to stick around for that, it's hopefully going to be here. We'll see how I do. I already pre-filmed 5 videos, so we should definitely be able to do the first week and we'll see where we go from there. But yeah, if you want some content all over Christmas, stick around. Yeah, let's get into the books. So the first book that I read during November was A Shadow in the Ember. This is the first book in the prequel series to From Blood and Ash. The prequel series is called something like Flesh and Fire, something like that. Basically the third book of this series has now come out. It's the third and final book. I'd already read the first 2 but didn't remember them amazingly, so I read Shadow in the Ember and I gave it 5 stars on a reread. I really do enjoy this series. I think it's a lot better than From Blood and Ash. I really prefer the prequel series. Obviously depends how it ends. I haven't yet got round to reading the final book, but yeah, I think the first book was really good. And then I also reread A Light in the Flame, which is the second book in the prequel series and the final one that I needed to read before I can read the third book. Also I thought. But yeah, A Light in the Flame, really good continuation, loads more information, and yeah, just a really decent time. I also gave it 5 stars on a reread. Absolutely great. And I read both of those via audio. The audiobooks to them are on Scribd, so I read those, no problem at all. Really glad I reread them because there was definitely a lot of things that I feel like will be major plot points in the final book that I didn't remember happening, so really glad I reread them. If you know nothing about this series, it is a prequel series and I do think it's easier to understand if you read it in the order that's like publication order, so you do need to read some of the From Blood and Ash books first. But we're essentially gods and humans and connections and taking a bride is where it starts actually. So it's, yeah, it starts with taking a bride. Our main character is promised to the god of death on her 18th birthday, I want to say. It takes us from there. It's a fun, good time and I really do enjoy it. I haven't got round to book 3 however, and the main reason for that is because it turned out I actually needed to read A Soul of Ash and Blood first. This is the 5th book in the From Blood and Ash series. I didn't realise I needed to read this one before book 3 and I hadn't. To be honest, I haven't been loving the From Blood and Ash series as much, so I just didn't have any incentive to keep reading, but obviously needing to read it to finish the prequel series I'm enjoying was enough incentive. So I did eventually read A Soul of Ash and Blood, and I also read this through audiobook, but the audiobook isn't on Scribd yet. I think what's happened is, I know that Audible do a lot of deals where it's like for the first year of publication the audiobook is only on Audible, so I did listen to this one using Audible. I think they got like a deal where it's like 3 months for £2 or something, so I just did it and I listened and it was really mid. It was really mediocre. Book 5, you're essentially reliving the events of books 1 through 4 from someone else's perspective, and yeah, I don't know, it didn't work for me. With the books that I read, there's often on the author's website there's often like bonus chapters, and that is what they are. Like they'll be, oh, like here's a bonus chapter if you want to see what happened at this point from this character's perspective, and they're great because they're just little bonus chapters. They're like little things, little sprinkles whilst you're waiting for the next book. And yeah, for that reason, like, this didn't work for me. Like, it didn't need to be a book. Most of it was silly. I feel like if you really didn't have enough for book 5 to like get you to where we're going to finish off, I think, in book 6, make it a novella. Like, just make it only the relevant stuff and just make it a novella. Yeah, didn't love it, gave it 3.5 stars. Then I read Iron Flame, which is the sequel to Fourth Wing. I'm sure everyone knows about Fourth Wing at this point. Dragon riders, you either train and you're successful, or you die. Those are the two ways to like complete your training. You either complete it and you're a dragon rider, or you die. I gave Iron Flame 4.5 stars. It was a lot better than Fourth Wing. There's more plot, there's more to it. The more I think about it, I think it probably was closer to 4 stars than 4.5 stars, but you know what, it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna stand by my rating. I feel like it was good, it was fun. My problem is this isn't adult fantasy and it reads like young adult, minus the like amount of violence and sex that there is, so it's like, I don't know. I really struggle to rate it because if it was young adult I think it'd be great, but it's not, and therefore it's just quite weak because it's meant to be adult. I don't know, hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, I gave it 4.5 stars. I enjoyed it. I read this during my 5-star video, so I'll link that up above. Basically, I think this might have been the first one that, no, oh no, A Soul of Ash and Blood was the first one I read for that video. Iron Flame was also in it, and essentially I read until I found a 5-star, so I will have that linked. And then after that I read Kingdom of Blood and Salt. This is just a random fantasy romance that I found on Kindle Unlimited. I gave it 3 stars. It was fun. It was good enough. I had a fun time. I'll probably continue at some point. The best way that I can think to describe this one is when you watch a movie, sometimes you just want like a leave your brain at home movie. That's what this felt like to me, like a leave your brain at home book, just a fun, good time. If you enjoy fantasy romance and you know you like Kindle Unlimited fantasy romance, I'd recommend it. If you don't, probably don't need to bother. Then I read The Last Witch Volume 1, which I also gave 3 stars. I really enjoyed this. I thought it was really good. We essentially have this witch who at the very start of the book is found by a group of people, but she's found in a bad situation. It's not exactly kidnapping, but it kind of is. I don't know, this is like dark, like it is actually dark, like there's a lot of like trauma and violence and stuff going on there. I thought it was really good. I was very engrossed in it. Like when I picked it up I just wanted to keep reading, like it captivated me. I will definitely continue. I don't know, like I don't know why it wasn't higher rated, just it doesn't feel like it. Like it doesn't feel like it was good enough. Like I guess the easiest way to say it is nothing surprised me. Everything was very like formulaic with how you'd expect things to roll out. They rolled out, and I think also our main character is not meant to be like a naive idiot. Like they're meant to be, you know, like an adult. They are an adult, and maybe some things that were going on in the book the main character should have caught on to a little bit quicker. Then okay, I'm going to do these two together. So I read The Never King and The Dark One, which is book 1 and 2 in a fantasy romance Peter Pan retelling. I don't know, I gave them both 2.5 stars. They were very just like middle of the road. I don't know if I'll continue on with the series. The problem is like they're very short. They're like 4-hour audiobooks and they're on script, so it's like so easy to just like pick them up if you just like, I don't know, like it takes me about 4 hours to tidy, polish and hoover the house, and I can be finished a whole book that's like a fun enough time. I don't know, I feel like they were fun enough at the time. I'm glad I picked them up. I feel like I just needed something a little bit silly to like get me out of this fog. Like I feel like my reading has just felt, I'm not in a slump, but it's felt kind of slumpy lately, and they were a fun time and they definitely did help me with that. Like they helped me feel a bit more like, oh, like reading can't just be this fun silly thing. So I am glad that I read them. I don't know if I'll continue on or finish the series in any way, because like, do I want to keep reading 2.5 star books? Not really. I'd rather read books that are like amazing 4 or 5 stars, but I'm glad I read them at the time. They are very explicit. They are definitely like, I don't even know if they're fantasy romance or if they're like what sort of romance they are, because like I don't know, there definitely are fantasy elements in it, but I don't know if you class Peter Pan as a fantasy. I don't know, it was very confusing. I had a fun time. They were fine. Then I read Flame and Sparrow, which is book 1 of a fantasy romance duology. I gave it 4 stars. I had a good time. It was fun, it was good, it was intense. I think the good things about it were like it was so easy to just pick up and read and go along with, and book 1 definitely had all of those, like, you know, it's a fantasy romance, you know, we've got our main character, it's enemies to lovers, she hates this guy, oh no, she's got to go live with him, and this person is like a god. I don't know, it's weird, it's an odd one, but I had a good time. And what I really liked about this one is because, like, although I really do like fantasy romance, I like kind of like the 30 to 40% like romance, and then like 60-70% like plot and fantasy and actual action. And this kind of had like that sort of thing. Like the actual plot and the world building in this book actually seemed like decent enough that, like, if the romance was taken out of it, I feel like it would still be a really good book, and that's kind of what I like. I honestly, I don't know what it said on the back because I literally just picked this up on my Kindle and read. Like, I think I saw a TikTok of it, I downloaded it, I read it. So I don't want to say anything in case I spoil it because I don't know how much is in the synopsis, but it was really, really good. I would definitely recommend it, kind of in line with, I mean, if you like Kingdom of the Wicked, this is like a more adult version maybe of that. If you like, to be honest, if you like the From Blood and Ash series and the prequel series, I think it's like a fairly similar like premise and idea and like fantasy plot and storyline to that. Like, yeah, it's very much like in that vibe, that world. Then we eventually found a 5-star for our 5-star video, and this was Strong Female Character. This is Fern Brady's memoir biography, and yeah, there's so much in this. It was a really great memoir. Like, there was just so much about it. So I would say the main thing that it touched on was her autism and late autism diagnosis, but also growing up without knowing that, and it was really, really good. I'd really recommend it. We are going to have an entire discussion on this. This was our book club book for October, November. Any day now, basically, when me and Jay have next got a day to sit down together, we are going to do a video on this, and that will be posted kind of in the next 4 or 5 days, so expect that at some point. Once it's out, I'll link it up above it. Yeah, 4 or 5 days I expect we'll be doing a discussion video on that and all about it. But yeah, that's very basics. I'll probably just put the synopsis in here because I think like it's literally like about 6-7 bullet points of what to expect in the book, and I think if that sounds good to you, check it out. Fern Brady we know because she is on Taskmaster. Like, that's how we get introduced to most of like the comedians that we're aware of, is through Taskmaster, because we really love and enjoy that show. And there was a little tiny Taskmaster section in the book as well. Like it was tiny. It was like maybe 3 paragraphs, but it's still a nice little snippet for me. And then last but not least, the final book that I read in November is Horror Store, and I gave it 3 stars. I don't know, I enjoyed it, I had a good time, but it wasn't horror and it's marketed as horror. If this wasn't marketed as horror, I feel like it probably would have got 4 stars, but I was just so disappointed by the fact that like the scary elements weren't there for me. Like, it wasn't scary, it wasn't creepy, it wasn't anything like that. But there were a few places where it did feel like it was trying to do that, but it's just so fast paced that it then try and do something that would be scary in like the psychological sense, and it was like, we were chilling a second ago, like this isn't going to get to me. We were literally chilling, and it's going to last like, I mean, I'm mainly listening through the audiobook, it's going to last 3-4 minutes and then we're out of this. Like, it's not, it didn't get me, so unfortunately it was only 3 stars. There will be a video for that coming very, very soon, and I will link that up above. I did a whole like reading Horror Store in IKEA. I read about half of it, 40% I think I got to it in IKEA. I'll link that up above once it's out. But yeah, that is it from me. Those were all the books that I read. I had a alright month in November, you know, like we read a decent amount. 11 is decent. I think like my standard for me is about 10 books a month, but it has gone up over the last year. Last year it was definitely 8 books was standard, and now it's 10, so 11's decent. Unfortunately, I just wish we had a few better ones, but yeah, that's something that we'll be concentrating on next year, is more, rather than concentrating, you know, because I do concentrate a little bit on the quantity because I set these stupid Goodreads goals. I'm going to be concentrating more on like intentionally reading next year. So if you're interested in that, stay tuned, and I'll also have like a whole 2024 reading goals video coming out soon as well, where I talk through what my actual like intentions are and what my goals are going to be for my reading in 2024. So yeah, stay tuned if you want to see that too. But yeah, for this video, really hope you liked it. Please do give it a like if you liked it. Subscribe down below if you'd like to see more content like this, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye.